Hello everyone, Engineer Pat 52 coming to you with the October Q&A responses. I apologize for these being late. I know I usually do it the last day of the month, but I had some things come up and I had to put this aside, so I do apologize. We're going to go ahead and get started with the questions that we've got, and we'll have a little bit of fun tonight. King of Love Train kicks it off. Good to see you back. Favorite train museums out of the ones listed? I haven't been to most of these. I've only been to a few. My favorite out of all of these is NCTM, North Carolina Transportation Museum, obviously. Uh, the Pennsylvania Railroad Museum is a good one, but I have looked at the Illinois Railroad Museum, and I even looked at, it was one of the other ones I looked at as well. Um, I've even looked at the Lake Shore Railroad Museum up in actually in like near Erie, PA, which is pretty good too. But the ones I visited are the NCTM, Virginia Museum of Transportation, and the Pennsylvania Railroad Museum. NCTM out of those three are the best. I have yet to go to the other ones, so I may be getting some trips down there soon. So, um, thank you for the recommendations and your questions, sir. This is great. All right, Stephen Casey Railfan comes back with a nice list of questions. Thank you, Stephen. Good to see you again. Fourth KCS 4006 or CSX 1776. I got to go with CSX on this one. William Hanna or Chuck Jones for Tom and Jerry. William Hanna for the win. It was the original, and I love the original Tom and Jerry's. The FEC or the Reddington and Northern. I like both because they have EMDs. Did you like going to high school sporting games when you were in high school? Oh, definitely. They were the best times. You weren't doing academics, you're out with your friends and having a good time. Do you like playing mobile games? I'm not really much of a gamer. I'm not really much of a gamer. I mean, I played computer games on my iPod and early iPhones. I even had the old plug and play games on the TVs. But I was one of the very few people in my generation that never owned a game console. I was never into it, but I did play one at a friend's house occasionally. But that was about it. Do you like the I Love Toy Trains bloopers, and which are your favorites? The I Love Toy Train series was good, parts 1 until the end. The bloopers, not so much, but the original series, oh yeah, Tom McComas, Joe Stauscher, hands down. So, I Love Toy Trains was a good series. ES44, the AC44, I like both because they have both the pros and cons. Chicken noodle soup or chili, oh, you're killing me. I like both, but when it's cold outside, chili is the winner. I love my mom's homemade chili. Olive Garden or Applebee's, oh, Olive Garden for the win. SP, Kodachrome, Daylight, or Bloody Nose. The Bloody Nose paint on the EMDs and the GEs that they bought, and I also like the SP Daylight scheme on the steam engine. It doesn't look too bad on the Ace, but the Daylight scheme looks the best on the GS4. Favorite kinds of pets besides dogs? I don't mind cats. And I mostly prefer dogs in my opinion. I like dogs because you can play with them more than cats, but animals are awesome. I love cats and dogs. 40T-2 or the SD45. Gotta go with the 40T-2 here because that was a unique locomotive. It was a unique look. And I always liked those tunnels. And I always liked the 45, but the T-2 was a unique EMD design. The Iowa, Chicago, and Eastern, or the Ice Railroad, or the EJ&E. EJ&E had a cool paint scheme. Who makes the better merch, Daylight Sales or Rebel Rails? I hear Rebel Rails is good, and I've used Daylight Sales at atrains.com. I hear all three of them are really good. Thoughts on the Hinton launch that happened? Hinton 1986. Oh yeah, that was the Via Rail and the CN crash, I think. Yeah, that was a pretty catastrophic one. Favorite K5HL variant? I like all three because they just sound pretty. I like all horns just because they're different, because they have different note configurations, they have different sounds. Like all the different diesels had different horns, and a lot of steam engines had different whistles. Which paint? So they're my. I like horns in general. Which paint looks best on a C40-8? UP or CN? CN is because it's more vibrant in my opinion, but the overall best CSXY and 2. Hot dogs or burgers? Oh, that's another killer. Oh, I love both of them. I love hot dogs with chili and cheese, burgers with a little potato salad, little cheese on a burger, baked beans, you name it, buddy. Thoughts on exact rail model trains? I only have one piece that's exact rail, but exact rail is actually a very nice line of cars. I really wish they were into engines. I think they only do rolling stock. Yeah, the Hinton head-on collision. I just had a little glitch there. Yeah, that was the when the freight train collided with the passenger train. That was a really catastrophic wreck. 'Cause I know Thunderbolt 1000 Siren Productions did a documentary on that. I would definitely check out his channel, guys. He does a lot of documentaries. Really, really good questions, Stephen. Thank you. All good questions, thank you. But this one in particular, yes, because that was a scary scene. So, thank you, Stephen, for your questions. Phoenix YT comes in. All right, we got a new one on the block, and Trainman 3985 are the next two. Favorite Nathan Horn, K5LLA on the Ace, and the K5LA on the AC44 C6Ms on NS. BNSF or CP? BNSF. Favorite Leslie, RS3L. Favorite GE locomotive of all time? It has to depend on the era, but I'll have to say for the older GEs, B36-7 and the U36B. B36s with a high hood cab in Southern, U36B in the SCL 1776 paint scheme. Newer GEs, I will say AC 6000, and I also like the ET44AC. For the EMD locomotive, all-time older EMD, SD40-2, but most any of the EMDs with high hood cabs, because I love them in Southern. Newer EMDs, SD70 ACE, not the Tier 4 Ace. Favorite cattle body locomotive, C40-8M. The SD60Ls were unique, but I always liked the Dash 8Ms. So thank you for your questions. Trainman 3985 and Trainman 1993 are the last two users. 3985 comes in with some good questions. Thank you for your questions. He's a new guy on the block. Favorite EMD engines from each generation? Wow. The 40s and 50s, I have to say the F units, the FP7, the FTs, the F3s. I also, I'm trying to think now of some of the older ones. FP7s, I love the E8s, the E3s. Another one that's my favorite are the FL9s. The second, well, basically the 60s, 70s, and 80s. SD40-2, SD45, SD35, most of them with a high hood cab on there. SD60s not so much. I like them because they had the standard cab. I like most any EMDs with the standard cab, but the newer ones now, ACE, without a doubt. Lionel for MTH, one name right there. Lionel for the win. Founded in 1900 by Mr. Joshua Lionel Cowan. They still make a good product. Favorite steam diesel and electric locomotives for the diesels, obviously SD40-2. For the electrics, the AEM7. Favorite steam, the NNW J611. Thoughts on the Amtrak Avelia Liberty? I don't understand what this question is, but if you can clarify that question, please, that would be good. Thoughts on modern passenger and freight diesel? Hey, as long as they move America's people and freight, I'm fine. I'm really happy with it. Favorite steam locomotive? NNW 611, NNW 1218, NNW 2156 with the NNW's Big Three. And also, one of my other favorites is the Southern Pacific GS4 4449. Let's see. Favorite freight car? I actually just like all freight cars because they each serve a different purpose. Have you used a drone for train videos, or are you thinking about maybe using one in the future? I have seen people use drones. I think they're cool, but I probably won't invest in that. There are some rail fans out there who have done it, and they've been able to get incredible views with those things. So maybe something I might consider later. Do you play video games? Not much of a gamer. Thoughts on the PRR T1? Yes, that's another one of my favorites, especially on the Reading 2100, I believe is what it was, the T1. Beautiful steam locomotive. Taco Bell or KFC? Gotta go KFC here. Have you seen trucking-based TV show titled Moving On and BJ and the Bear? No. Have you heard of CPR's 1270 boiler expulsion? No, I don't know what you're talking about there, buddy. Uh, Please clarify that in the comments section. What do you think Amtrak converted a few of their 40 pages to NPCUs? I thought it was just not the best because they are actually good locomotives. They've turned them into slugs, which I don't particularly like, but if they kept their original prime movers in them and just got them rebuilt, Amtrak would have saved themselves a bunch of money, in my opinion. Which Amtrak GE do you like, the P40, P42, or the Dash 8? Uh, Dash 8 for the win here. The Genesis is unique, but if like a regular standard diesel look, has to be the Dash 8. What railroad, past or present, have you heard that is bad and you've looked at and you think it's so bad it's good? Like saying a bad railroad but has something about it that you like. Penn Central was one of the worst railroads out there. In my opinion, it actually turned out to be okay because without Penn Central, there would be no Conrail. So here's a joke for you. What do you call a locomotive working at a fast food restaurant? A trainee, and that's a true statement. So thank you for your questions. And Trainman 1993 is our last user with a few questions. Thank you, sir. Uh, do you like the Pittsburgh Lake Erie and the Bessemer Lake Erie? Bessemer Lake Erie is the best one because that's a pretty paint scheme. It had that piece of rail in the center of the logo. Favorite fast food place? I like Chick-fil-A. McDonald's is good for the breakfast. Hardee's is good for their breakfast and their roast beef sandwich. And do you like Kraft mac and cheese? Oh, yes, a kid's favorite. Favorite TV show? I mostly go back to the 60s, 70s, and 80s. My all-time favorite, The Andy Griffith Show. If you guys haven't watched that show, please watch the first 5 seasons. Teaches a lot of really good lessons in that show. Happy Days, The Flintstones, another one of my favorite cartoons. I have so many favorites. I can't name them all in this video. But I do like a lot of TV, though. Knight Rider with David Hasselhoff, The A-Team, Batman created by Adam West, The Addams Family, back in the 60s, starring Carolyn Jones and John Astin. Very, very good people. And John Astin, as a matter of fact, still alive. I think he's like 90 or 91. He's one of the last of the main characters still living. So thought I would throw in a little TV fun fact. But anyway, that wraps up the October Q&A responses. November's Q&A prompt is out already. So if you got some questions that you would like to ask for November's, go ahead and send your comments in, guys. It's open until, I think, November 30th or November 29th is when I think I ended it. So when I will end that one. So thank you guys for your questions here. Go on over to November's and ask away again. All right, guys. Thank you all very much, and may God bless.